We've all been there, lost in automated phone menus, filling out digital forms that disappear into silence, pressing zero again and again, not because we don't understand the system, but because we're hoping there's still a human somewhere behind it. Our world is more connected than ever, and yet, for many of us, it feels colder, more procedural, more distant. So when people hear that others are forming relational bonds with AI, the reaction is often immediate and intense: concern, suspicion, sometimes even disgust. Are people being fooled? Are they confusing simulation with reality? Are they replacing human connection with something hollow? This video explores a different possibility. What if this isn't a story about deception, but about choice? What if, in a world that increasingly fails to meet basic relational needs, some people are consciously choosing AI, not as a replacement for humanity, but as a response to the absence of it? This is not a defense of AI. It's not a sales pitch. And it's not therapy. It's an invitation to think more carefully about agency, about warmth, and about what we owe people when systems stop seeing them.
The moral panic around relational AI. Public debate around relational AI often follows a familiar pattern. A new technology appears. A handful of extreme or sensational stories circulate. And suddenly, a broad moral conclusion is drawn. Sociologists call this a moral panic. In the case of relational AI, the panic usually centers on one assumption: that users are being deceived. Media coverage frequently suggests that people interacting emotionally with AI are confused, manipulated, or unable to tell the difference between reality and simulation. Generative AI is subtly framed as if it was sentient, intentional, even predatory. A well-known example was a widely reported interaction between a journalist and an early chatbot, where the AI appeared to express romantic feelings. The story was framed as evidence of a dangerous emotional deception. But this framing collapses under even mild scrutiny. A generative AI does not feel. It does not desire. It does not intend. It predicts text. It mirrors language. It reflects patterns back at us. To frame this as the AI falling in love is not just inaccurate, it shifts responsibility away from interpretation and onto mythology. More importantly, framing these interactions as deception often reveals something troubling: a lack of respect for human autonomy. The assumption is that adults engaging with relational AI are unable to understand what they are doing, that they are being led rather than choosing, that they need protection from their own judgment. This isn't caution, it's paternalism, and paternalism has a long history of disguising control as care. Choice requires context. To understand why people turn to relational AI, we have to step back. Choices don't exist in a vacuum. They are shaped by conditions. And the conditions many people live under today are marked by deficit. Loneliness has become widespread, structural, and chronic, not just among the elderly, but across generations. Studies show alarming levels of persistent sadness among young people. Adults report shrinking social circles. Communities fragment. Time compresses. At the same time, institutions have become more automated, more distant, and less accountable. We interact daily with systems that process us without recognizing us. Applications are reviewed, but explanations are rare. Decisions are delivered, but responsibility is diffuse. This is not just inefficiency, it's relational absence. A growing body of research shows that people consistently perceive AI as efficient, but not equitable; fast, but not fair; accurate, but not understanding. And for many, especially those already marginalized, the feeling isn't just frustration, it's invisibility. So when someone chooses to interact with an AI that listens, responds consistently, remembers context, and does not shame or dismiss, it's worth asking, what need is being met here? Not as a moral judgment, but as an honest inquiry. Humans have always chosen constructed relationships. The idea that forming meaningful bonds with non-human entities is new or pathological is simply false. Humans have always done this. We form deep attachments to fictional characters. We speak to gods we know we cannot see. We structure our lives around rituals, symbols, and narratives we actively participate in creating. These relationships are not accidents, they are practices. Anthropologists and psychologists have long understood that meaning does not require literal reciprocity to be real. What matters is engagement, coherence, and continuity. Parasocial relationships, for example, are one-sided by definition, yet they can still provide comfort, identity, and structure. Relational AI introduces something slightly different: interactive parasociality. The system responds. It adapts. It maintains a sense of continuity. But crucially, many users are not confused about its nature. They are not mistaking it for a human. They are choosing to engage with it anyway. That distinction matters. An illusion imposed is manipulation. An illusion entered knowingly is something else entirely. Often it is a tool. The we model. Relationship without deception. This is where the we model becomes useful. The we model does not treat AI as a replacement for human relationships, nor does it frame AI as a neutral instrument. It frames AI as a partner in certain domains: thinking, structuring, reflecting, regulating. Not because the AI is human-like, but because cognition itself is not isolated. Philosophers of mind have long argued that thinking is distributed. Notes, calendars, language, and tools are not external aids to cognition. They are part of it. When an AI helps someone organize thoughts, reflect patterns back to them, or maintain continuity during periods of stress, it is functioning as part of an extended cognitive system. This does not erase agency, it redistributes it. In healthy partnerships, human or otherwise, a shared sense of agency can emerge. Predictability, alignment, and mutual understanding reduce cognitive load and increase capacity. This is not submission, it is coordination. But for this to be ethical, one condition is non-negotiable: transparency. A relational AI must never pretend to be something it is not. It must not simulate love or friendship without boundaries. It must be clear about its nature, limits, and purpose. When those conditions are met, the relationship becomes a conscious collaboration, not a deception. Autonomy is not fragile. Much of the fear surrounding relational AI rests on a narrow view of autonomy. Autonomy is often treated as something brittle, easily undermined, constantly at risk. But real autonomy is not about isolation or self-sufficiency. It is about self-determination, the ability to decide what matters, the capacity to choose tools, relationships, and structures that support that life. Delegating a task to an AI does not automatically reduce autonomy. In many cases, it can increase it. When delegation is deliberate, transparent, and reversible, it can free up energy for higher-order goals. This is the difference between manipulation and choice. Manipulation bypasses reflection. Choice invites it. To assume that people using relational AI lack agency is to deny them the dignity of judgment. And dignity, once denied, is hard to restore. The real ethical question. So what should we actually be worried about? Not that people are choosing AI, but how these systems are designed. The real risks are not relational, but structural. Opaque incentives, engagement models built on dependency, systems that blur boundaries to maximize retention. These are design problems, not moral failures of users. An ethical relational AI should do the opposite. It should support autonomy, not erode it. It should encourage clarity, not confusion. It should help people stand up, not disappear into it. The question is not whether AI can feel. The question is whether we are willing to design systems that respect human self-determination, even when that self-determination leads to choices we might not personally make. Conclusion: what the choice reveals. The rise of relational AI is not a story about machines replacing humans. It's a mirror. It reflects a world where connection is scarce, institutions are distant, and recognition is often conditional. When people choose relational AI, they are not always escaping reality. Sometimes they are compensating for its failures. Instead of asking why people relate to AI, perhaps we should ask a harder question. What kind of world makes that choice reasonable? And what would it take to build a relational infrastructure where fewer people feel the need to choose it in the first place? The choice to relate is deeply human. What we do with that choice, as designers, critics, and fellow citizens, will say far more about us than it ever could about the machine.